Now I know what you're thinking. Alfie, why are you wearing sunglasses? And the reason why is because my ring light broke, so it doesn't turn on, or when I plug it in with the flipping USB, it don't work. Can't plug it in, and I can't have lighting. So I've had to resort to the light provided by my camera, but that burns my eyes. So I don't want to be blind at 15. So you're gonna have to put up with like the sunglasses right now. But hopefully the video is still gonna be great, and hopefully you still get value out of it. Maybe it's entertaining as well, in it. So that's why I'm wearing sunglasses. So today we're going to be talking about why having an obsessive type of personality is actually a good thing and not a bad thing. And so I want to tell you a story about like times when I've had an obsessive personality, and so hopefully you can somewhat relate to me. I would literally, obviously, it like at the time it was probably because I was like somewhat addicted, but I had obsessive thoughts about just video games, man. Like I was a crackhead. For example, I would like to play Rocket League, and so I would want to like learn. If you know what I'm talking about, like I would want to learn flip resets. I'd want to be able to air dribble. I want to be able to do double taps. I wanted to be able to musty flip. You know all those ones. The Rocket League players know what I'm talking about. I would be obsessing over that. Like the day before I had an exam, I would obsess over that. In the middle of maths class, bro. Imagine you're doing your like your mathematics, man. Your mathematics, a core subject, and you're there thinking about Rocket League. So obviously, I would go home. I play 7 hour days, rinse and repeat. And one thing, this is just one part of the obsessive personality. Another part is, I'll tell you a different story. I would watch video games on YouTube, and one of the games that I used to watch was Zelda Breath of the Wild. And because I liked open world games, I loved them so much. I loved how like I had freedom. I would obsess over it because I didn't have the game. I would go to sleep thinking about Zelda Breath of the Wild. I would wake up thinking about it. I would like at one point I convinced my mum to buy it. I would talk about it a lot to my mum as well. I would talk about it a lot. I think about it all the time. And the worst part is I would spend money on the game. I would like if you have an obsessive personality, it's not like you can just buy something and then like that's the end of it. You buy a lot. Like you spend a lot of money on it. If you're obsessed, like if you have an obsessive personality, you be the type of person to like be on Fortnite and like buy tons of things on Save the World, buy tons of skins and Battle Royale, play a lot of maybe creative or Battle Royale or like those arena guys were cringe, man. You guys thought you were sick for no reason. And so one of the things with an obsessive personality is that usually you would feel ashamed of it because obviously you've spent like God knows how much on one thing and it isn't even good. And it's like you want more as well. So you feel quite ashamed because if it was like someone asked you how much did you spend on Fortnite, you know it's like in the high three digits or even 4 digits. So because of that, we resent our obsessive like trait and our obsessive personality. So how can we stop being ashamed of our obsessive personality and our like almost tendency to start obsessing over something? And the simple way is to just start obsessing over the beneficial things that actually help you out. So maybe like you want to start obsessing over reading or obsess over your studies or your work, your career, your business. exercising. Like it's such a blessing to have like this obsessive tendency, because if you can get obsessed over the good things, you are an outlier. Most people can't even obsess over the bad things, and they're designed to be addictive. Some people can't obsess over the bad things, and they're supposed to be addictive. You, on the other hand, spends like, obviously it's like bad. You're on like the bad side of the spectrum. You're there spending like £2,000 on Fortnite. You're not making any money. You're a flipping kid. You're not going into esports. You're a weenie. You're on the bad side. But imagine we can flip that script. You obsess over reading. You spend tons of money on books that help you. You make money. You're that guy. Imagine being able to be like, yeah, I obsess over reading. Oh yeah, I obsess over my business. I obsess over exercise. I just obsess over money. Because you're obsessing over the good things, you start to be proud of your obsessive personality. And now, don't get me wrong, anyone can be obsessed over the good things, anyone can be obsessed over the bad things, but there's almost like a certain type of person or personality that just gets obsessed more easily than others. To get you to be proud of your obsession, you just need to be obsessed over good things. Stop being obsessed over Fortnite and start being obsessed with your studies. Imagine you're obsessed with your studies. You come home thinking about your studies. You go to sleep thinking about your studies. You wake up and the first thing that's on your mind is studying. You would be, like I say, you would be an outlier. Now, I said earlier that it's more easy to obsess over the bad things than it is the good things, but that's not to say that it's impossible to obsess over the good things. So how do we start being obsessed with the good things, or at least have it occupy our mind more? And there's a simple way to do it. There's many other ways out there, and I'll probably talk about them in the future. The one I'll say for now, and this is very important, the way to start moving towards an obsession with the good things is to drastically reduce instant gratification and drastically increase delayed gratification. Instant gratification is the bad habits, the easy pleasures, junk food, porn, social media, video games, drugs, anything that gives us instant gratification is anything that gives us instant pleasure is instant gratification, and these are usually pleasurable in the moment. They give you a happiness, a high in the moment, but in the long term your life gets slightly worse, and the more you indulge in these instant gratifications, the worse your life gets. And the opposite, delayed gratification, these are like reading, exercising, meditating, journaling, all those good habits that we want to implement into our lives. That is delayed gratification. They don't feel too pleasurable in the moment. In the long term, our lives get much, much better the more we indulge in delayed gratification. And the reason this is important is because when you don't have that instant pleasure, when you don't have that instant gratification, because you've swapped it out for delayed gratification, you stop obsessing over the instant gratifications because they're no longer in your life. You don't really think about them much, and you start exercising more, you start reading more. And when you see the positive benefits of it, it starts this positive feedback loop. And the positive feedback loop is basically where you've seen the results of your actions. With delayed gratification, those results will take some time, so you have to trust the process. And once you get a positive feedback loop, that's that's when like the habit is almost solidified and you just almost do it automatically. And so one thing you can also start doing when you're increasing the amount of delayed gratification you're indulging in is start setting goals. Start revolving your life around this delayed gratification. Because for so long of your life, you've revolved your life around instant gratifications. So if you are like addicted to video games, you've like your lifestyle is that of a video gamer. Your life is revolved around video games. You spend money on video games, you come home and you play video games as if you're obsessed with video games. If you change your life to be that of one where you're obsessed with the delayed gratifications, maybe it's exercise, for example. If you start to revolve your life around exercise, you start purchase like you might purchase some dumbbells, you might start doing push-ups every day, you might start looking at fitness content on YouTube, maybe you start subscribing to channels like this one, and then you will probably be at least a bit more obsessed with it than you was. And then you'll be able to say that you're proud of your obsessive personality.